But thank you everyone for joining nice and early. It's great to have you here. For those of you that don't know me, or you do know me but haven't seen me, I am Paul and I look after the customer experience and success team here at Shazami. I'm very new, but if you are live, you are all mine. A reminder to jump on chat first if you need anything, any assistance, because hopefully they can help you on the spot. If not, they will make sure you get to the right person or department and so on, just so that you get the help that you need when you need it as quickly as we can get it to you. Joining me today, we've got the whole gang really. So very fortunate today. We've got Paula, who looks after projects. Hey, Paula.
Hello.
From delivery right through to the build and so on. So she's very important. Thanks for joining us. We've also got the lovely Nicole, who you will probably know very well. I'll let her introduce herself. And also Rick. Now, these two apparently have industry experience of, I think, together around 30 years. I'd probably say it's about 100. But incredibly privileged to have both of them today. There is nothing about the industry and certainly technology that they don't know. So I'm going to be quiet now, jump out. Feel free to ask your questions in the chat as well, and we'll make sure they get answered at some point. And I will be taking some notes. So yeah, have a good session. Nicole.
Thanks so much, Paul. Hi, everyone. Just a bit of an introduction. Nicole Clark, co-founder of Shazami. Excited to be joined by Paul, who's just introed us, and Rick, of course. We are very passionate about this space, and there's nothing we want more than you guys to be more successful because you're using our technology. And I do also implore you, if you've got any great ideas or things that you think would make a big difference to the success of your brand online, please reach out. We want to continue evolving as we are, our platform day in and day out, and excited to take you through some of those updates as we go through this as well. Rick?
Yes, good afternoon, and Rick Murray here, co-founder as well. And yes, to add to what Nicole said, great to be here and super excited to share with you some new SEO features that we've introduced that have come about by clients and their SEO agencies, and contributing to ideas of how to solve some of the things that are common within this industry. So hopefully you'll get a lot out of what we have to share today.
We can just flip to the front page again, Rick, just to the first page. So the topic of today is advanced SEO secrets and things you must be doing. What we're trying to do with these regular ongoing training webinars is to help take our clients on a journey of success for the future as the market and the industry and the technology that sits within it is evolving and changing day in and day out. So we want to be able to bring you those updates. We did host an event last week, which was the 101 must-have SEO tips and tricks. I would recommend that everyone goes back and watches that. There is some people who have joined us today that did see that. We do have that recording, so if you need it, please let us know. There will be a slight rehash on some of those points because they are so important to foundational SEO from an advanced level. And we're very excited if you do have further thoughts on webinars that we can be doing. One that came out of last time, thank you, Sophie from Brook, was it would be amazing if we could do job ads and how best to write them using AI, and also so that you get the best SEO optimization out of them. So that's a new one that we will be doing out of that. Thank you, Rick, if you can move along. So everyone will hear me say this day in and day out, but recruitment is definitely marketing, and SEO from a digital standpoint is the key to unlock those opportunities. We want you guys to be relevant, be found by both job seekers and employers, and make sure that you're getting the people you want finding you and engaging you and converting into an inquiry or a job application. Really, we tried to dumb this down into no BS strategies on how you can be more successful. This is relevant for everyone, and there are some people who will be watching this that aren't on the Shazami platform. Hopefully that changes very soon, because that will make everything that we're going to run through now a lot easier for you to achieve. And in some cases, you won't be able to achieve the stuff we're talking about if you aren't on our platform. So thank you, everyone, for joining. So first of all, from a foundational level, we say this day in and day out, it's as a business owner, your recruitment agency should be continuously evolving with what's going on in the market. You should be prepared to duck and pivot and weave and search out other opportunities to attract relevant candidates and clients and open up markets that you might not have explored before if the market is deeming it's more successful than where you're sitting today. The companies that continue to evolve as a brand will be the ones that survive the long term and pick up lots of opportunities that no one else does. So it's very important that you truly understand your industry sectors. Where do you make your money? Where do you want to be making your money? And you need to create an ecosystem within your digital brand that talks to that, so that the search engines, and we will go into some changes that are going on in search, that is very important that you really define this succinctly, that it actually depicts exactly what it is you do. So there is no confusion by the user or the digital landscape of why they should be sending people to your brand. Regularly assess this. One thing we're very passionate about here, stop wasting money. There's so much money wasted unnecessarily in this business. Know your metrics. Be able to be found for the things you want to be found for, and you will be very successful. If you're not using Google Trends yet, check it out. There's a link down the bottom there. That'll help you sort of look at what's going on and what are people actually searching for and what's trending in the market at the moment. Big changes coming to Google's interface and their search algorithms, with search generative experience starting to roll out currently, but around December across the globe in different countries. Now, really what Google's trying to do here is better understand people's search requests. So we've known for a long time that long tail keywords are very important. So that could be civil engineering jobs, Perth, where they're writing in more and searches are becoming more succinct to exactly what people are looking for. So really important, and we'll run through that as well, that you're including those sort of long tail keywords so that it makes sense for a search engine to return results, which will be your actual website. The actual interface itself is going to change as we know it to Google, and it's not only going to be about SEO optimization and results in the bottom, although SGE and SEO will play hand in hand. There's going to be visual results returned in the form of pages. So really important that if someone does a civil engineering jobs Gold Coast search and you're relevant to that search, that you've got content on your website so that the search engines display you as an option, as valuable content for that industry sector. So that SGE change, anyone who starts doing this sooner is going to benefit, but really encouraging great user experience on a mobile device, making sure that you're asking for Google reviews and making sure that you're writing really quality content, still using AI, but making sure that you're personalizing it and making sure it is unique. And Rick will be touching upon the exciting changes on the metadata and titles and your URL structures.
Great. Thank you, Nicole. So Nicole has clearly outlined that SEO and SGE is very important for your brand going forward. In relation to recruitment and staffing websites, there are obviously some very clear and distinct SEO items that you must and you should be using. Now, the good thing is that your jobs are really the content. Think of your jobs as a product in a store. And if you don't have the correct title, meta title, description, etc., correctly configured, you'll never sell any of those items. It's the same for jobs. So what we're going to go through today is really the key items and how you should build them, and how we now allow you to really configure them based on what your business needs. That is really a big change that we introduced, and it's again from feedback from our clients and their SEO agencies. And where we put ourselves differently now is that all SaaS platforms that provide solutions to the industry all have a very much rigid structure. Some people like it, some people don't like it. Some works for some people, for others it doesn't work, and you can't change it. It's stuck. So we've really flipped this on its head, as you'll see in a second. So if we firstly go to the first item, which is the most obvious one, the job title. So as Nicole mentioned, that Paul was probably going to run a session on writing job ads. The job title is one of the most important ones because that tells at a glance in the job results on the job page in search engines what the job is about. So you really need to put in there as much as you can about what the job is. And also try not to make it the same as the meta title, because the more repetition you have of the same content, Google's not going to like that. So make it relevant only to the job title. Moving on to the meta title, that's the one that sits in your browser tab bar when you hover over it, which behind the scenes plays a very important part. It should be on your URL, and as you'll see in the examples that I give you on the next page, when you have iframes or embeds or things like ATS embedded, nothing works because every one of them is the same. So you're lucky if you have a system that allows you to create a unique meta title per job, and I'll have examples again shortly, but it's very important they are unique. Now, aim for it to be 50 to 60 characters because the search engines cut it off after that, so anything beyond that is wasted. Trying to include your company name, which is the most obvious one at the end, because it builds awareness. And you can now test, or you've always been able to test the titles using things like CoSchedule, Headline Analyzer, or Headline Analyzer by Share-Through to see how engaging it is. And again, as I said, don't make them the same as your job title. They really should be different. So let's move on to the practical solutions here. So here is an example at the top, which is a bad title. It just says Babbage Associates job listing. Now, every one of their jobs on that site has the same meta title. So to Google, it scans through, let's say it has 1,000 jobs. Every job has the same meta title. So it's going to ignore most of, or all of them in theory, because they're all the same meta title, and there's nothing distinguishing them from each other. So Google, in theory, should ignore all 991 out of the 1,000 and keep the one. So that's not good. What is a good example of a meta title, and this is sort of where you can now tailor it, find a fire and security engineer job vacancy in Scotland. So that's a lot clearer. It's fire and security vacancy, fire and security engineer vacancy in Scotland. Now, if you're national or have a large geography, then you use the country. But as you can see here, what we've now done is we've allowed you to use all of the key tags that come from your ATS into building up this string. So job name, profession, role, city, state, country, zip, work type, work model, and soon to be added reference number, so that you can actually build this to be, find a fire security engineer job in Sydney, for example, if you're local, or if you even want to go more granular, you can then use your city if it's suburb, for example, or your role being the next level down. So it really helps you tailor it to your business and where you operate. The meta description should also be on your URL, and again, the same logic applies if you use iframes or embeds. Your meta description will be the same for every job. And again, Google looks at 1,000 jobs and goes, well, the meta title is the same, the meta description is the same, so they're all the same jobs. I have no reason to believe that they're different. So you really need to have that dynamically generated, again, based on what's in your job ad, so it is much more relevant. So a lot of platforms just use the first 100 characters. Some use a combination of other things, but generally it is a very important bit of data that follows up on your meta title. Again, you've got 155 to 160 characters to be adding very good content about the job so that search engines can see what it's about. Again, if we go into examples, and again, this is taken from the same site, the description, meta description was up-to-date listings of available jobs in Texas. All of their jobs had the same meta description. Something better is looking for a fire and security engineer job in Scotland. This full-time role based in Scotland, technical resources has many permanent and temporary roles. I think I cut that off there. But as you can see, this now starts to tell a story, and a different story for every job. So if this job was a mechanical engineer, that would say mechanical engineer job in Scotland. And if it's part-time, it would say part-time role. So you can really start to build it up for your brand. So again, same tags, you can build up the strings by just building that the content. The more relevant information you include, like work from home, the search engines are now smart enough to really start using that. So if somebody types in want to work from home, WFH, then it will be picked up. So going to probably the other most important one of the job hierarchy is the URL. Now the URL is really one that is the final piece in our changes, that often you have very similar things with embeds or iframes. The URL doesn't change, it just adds a query string to the end. And again, search engines really don't see much meaning in having a question mark and just a series of numbers. So not very good. And then we've seen also others with many folders in the structure, but if you look at the folders, they don't actually lead to pages, which is one of the key reasons you have folders, so that you can have a folder structure below it. So the URL does need to have some meaning, and it should follow the previous flow of meta description, meta title, so that there is a logical flow. If a search engine, as you'll see in a second, looks at a complete page, everything is structured the same way. So right now, the structure of the URL has never been able to be changed unless you do a custom build and you hard coded. But what we've done now is you really can start to change that in line with what the meta title and meta description allows you to change. So a couple of examples, again, just to highlight good and bad examples. So this here, jobs cornerstone / index SMPL question mark JB blah 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 category 2304. So to a search engine that means absolutely nothing, especially after the question mark. That's the query string. That's the meta. That's the job URL. Then the job URL of the actual job is JB public accounting, etc. So also the big mistake here, which again often gets overlooked, is that capitalization is bad for URLs. They expect the URLs to all be lowercase. So because it can see lowercase and uppercase as two different URLs. So again, these examples are pretty bad of what it shouldn't look like. What it should look like is more like this, where again, you know, you've got the URL and then physician assistant in California as an inpatient, or job detail neuroscience physician assistant Monterey Bay area, California in physician assistant jobs. So that's telling a story. And if you were to look at the meta title, it would follow the same structure, the meta description, it would all have the same content. So there's a continual flow of the data that search engines look for. So again, the tags help you build that offering, and your URL can bring all your SEO together. So that's a quick run through of the core elements that we see really making a big impact on your business and how you promote your business online for advanced SEO. Now moving on to other things that play a huge part in search engines understanding the complete set of your data, because you can only put so much in the job title, the job URL, and the meta description. So the search engines have something called job schema. Now this is part of the schema org setup. And what it allows you to do is add additional information that isn't represented in those three items that we've just gone through. So allows you to add things like your company name, salary unit, salary currency, profession, role, location, so city, state, country, pretty much all the bits of data that you typically do have in your ATS, but don't necessarily get structured in a way for search engines. So that's why the job schema is super important, because it gives you all of those other bits, date posted, date expiry, etc. So what it allows you to do is really add more content for search engines, your logo, for example, as well. So the job schema is something to be very aware of, and make sure that you have everything. Again, unless you have a platform that is designed for recruitment, typically the job schema is one of those orphaned items that never gets looked at. So very important. Example of a job schema. I know it's a bit small, but you can see here all the things I've mentioned. Hiring organization, logo, address, city, state, postcode, base salary, currency, etc. Moving on to the next item. So that is the sitemap. So the sitemap is another part of the SEO setup that is important. Typically, there's XML sitemaps that are making it easier for search engines to scan your site. So it's a very high level what pages are active, and it tells them how often they should be indexed. Now, this typically has a list of all of your jobs in there. So if you've got 20 jobs, your sitemap should have 20 jobs in there, and it's very quick for search engines to see if there's an update to those jobs or not, to then follow up with a crawl. So it can seriously improve your SEO if you've got it. If you don't, again, the speed of the crawl and things can be affected. The index, you've got to look at it, it's just like a book. If you don't have an index, it makes it harder for you to scan through the book and find the relevant pages. If you've got an index, like a search engine looks for, it tells them what's there and how often to scan it. So bringing it together. So I think this is probably visually how search engines look at it. When they come to a page, they look at the range of things. So you've got your meta title in the tab, you've got your URL in the URL bar, you've got your job title, which is should be an H1 on the page. You've got your meta description, which is not visible to the human eye, and your job schema that's also not visible to the human eye behind the scenes. That is how a perfect page for a job should look like. And if you get this right, then search engines will love the content and start indexing it accordingly. So handing over to Nicole for this one, and then we'll move back to some other advanced SEO items.
Thank you. A couple of quick points on this. Anyone using Shazami's platform today has the ability to update all the things that Rick just mentioned, and a lot of them are automatically generated as well. So just know that. I did want to tell a little bit of a story. I know you touched upon it, Rick, but it's a really good one where we got feedback from an SEO expert out of the UK that already thought that we were well SEO optimized with the way that we'd structured everything and the technology behind the platform driving SEO. But the big piece was, he said, what would be a game changer is if you can customize your meta descriptions, your meta titles, and your URL structure. So we went about, as we're always doing in our platform, tweaking that technology to give that to you guys so we could roll it out to all of our clients across the world. So it's just another really important piece where we're constantly striving to help you be even more successful. And that a lot of people don't realize that the jobs, they're the difference between you, a butcher, a baker, and a candlestick maker is the fact you've got jobs. So you need those jobs working for you. They should be like little mini blog articles every time you're posting a job, waving the flag to say, hey, we're important. So I love the fact that we've done that. It's a game changer, most definitely. And no one else can do it as we sit here today. So it's exciting. Okay. Landing pages, SEO and conversion. So there's a few ways to think of individual pages. We won't go over all of them right now because we covered some in the last session, but one of the big ones I was asked the other day was around locations. Like if we want to come up for different locations online, but you might not it might not warrant a Google My Business listing in its own right. So what I recommend is if you service particular locations, and this also plays back into the SGE conversation about making sure that you're very succinct with the content and with long tail keywords of what it is you do. If you do recruit those civil engineers on the Gold Coast, you might want to create a Gold Coast landing page that builds your presence digitally, that you service that region and what you service it for, and really build out those location pages is a good way to sort of look at creating those pages for success. Building landing pages, we've spoken about many times around co-branding with employers that you might be working with to drive relevant traffic to those landing pages. Importantly for you guys, every click you can have that drives traffic back to your brand from an external source is really important. So if you're doing advertising on LinkedIn or Facebook or any other platform, using QR codes and or linking pages back to your brand is really important to lift your SEO. Conversions as well, they look at how many clicks are people registering and putting their details into your website is seen as a real hierarchy. So drive traffic back, don't do blogs and always put them independently on other platforms. Start the blogs from your own brand and drive that traffic back to your website where that's then going to enhance your SEO. Think about creating gated content. A few of my clients very successfully are creating blogs talking about, to attract employers to their brand. What are the top 6 things you should have in a job description for a civil engineer, for instance? They might show 3 on the blog and then say, click here to download more information, which then takes them through to the guide, and they have to register their details to download how to write a job description for a civil engineer. Great thing for you guys is when they enter their details, whippity-do, you've probably got someone there that wants to or could engage your services to find that civil engineer. So increasing paid advertising conversions, landing pages are great. Drive traffic back to a high converting landing page. Don't always ask people to apply for a job. Sometimes the people that you're approaching might not, especially in the higher sort of harder to fill roles, might not be ready to hit apply, but they might be open to registering their interest to learn more. Put a form on there so they register, and then you can go and pull them into your process. Like everything, use data and analytics to use smart decisions. Rick, I think you're touching on UTM tracking codes and, really understanding where your conversions are coming from.
Thank you, Nicole. I actually don't remember adding that slide, but I'll create one on the fly. Going into voice search, so this does have quite an impact on your SEO and how you build your SEO. So a lot of people don't realize that each of the different voice engines have different ways to set it up. So if you want to appear in as many voice engines as you need to really set it up in those engines. So you need to register in Google, Bing, Siri, Apple Maps, and Alexa. So the voice search, which is now, I think these numbers are actually a bit out of date. I think it's actually more because I use it pretty much most of the day. It is the way you write your content where you say, hey, Alexa, find me this, find me that. So the idea is that your content is sometimes written in such a way, and you can use FAQs and other things like that to create that content which are based on questions that people may use in their voice search. So very important to consider that if you want to extend and expand your SEO footprint, voice search is certainly one that you need to make sure you're in each of those map engines. Nicole, this one's back for you.
Yes, very quickly on this one, because we did cover it in the 101 must-have SEO optimization. Google My Business listing, you should be posting to Google My Business just like you post to LinkedIn or Facebook or any of the other social platforms that you post to. Think of it in the olden days of being like the yellow pages. It's free to list your business in Google. You should get as much content onto your listing pages as possible. Google owns it. It loves it. Get reviews. If you're internally getting reviews at the moment for your business, but they're not in the World Wide Web forum, you need to start asking for Google reviews. It will give you a push up with your rankings from a search engine perspective, because they like seeing that you've got quality reviews and that you're a company with substance. A lot of things in the recruitment industry always come up. What if we get a negative review? Look, it's about acting on it quickly, diffusing the situation, taking it offline, but do that quickly because you don't want that sitting out there. Make sure you respond. The Google My Business listing can also drive traffic to your brand, get inbound calls. I think now there's also the ability to put a booking link on there too. So there is a lot of things, but post video there, content there, build that page out, because they'll often suggest competitors that people could talk to. The more content you get on there, the further your competitors are going to be pushed down the page. So make sure, if you're not already, get in there and make sure you've maximized every opportunity to promote your brand within your Google listings.
Yeah.
And it's free.
Great. Yep. And the reviews absolutely help with SEO. There's no doubt about it. All right. Having a look at this AI tool that we've now got within our platform as well. So this is quite cool. So often what happens is when you've built a site and you start adding pages and content, etc., some of those newly pages, SEO meta titles and descriptions often overlooked. So this really does help you quickly scan the site, scan your site, and make sure that every page that you've got has the correct meta title and meta description, which is obviously what we went through before. You got 55 characters and 160 characters. So what we've now introduced is the AI-driven tool that understands your business, and so you tell it what your business is about, and give it some details, and then what it can do is it will scan your site as a whole, and then start to give you recommendations. So as you can see here, it's pretty cool. It starts to write your content. Now, this typically was the most boring and mundane task you could ever imagine. The amount of sites I've probably written over the years, the meta title and meta description is just unbelievable. You now have tools that do it for you based on your business, the pages, the content on the pages, etc. So this is pretty advanced stuff that we've now got, and it also means that you really never should have an excuse not to have the proper content on the pages.
And so just quickly, sorry, Rick, to interrupt. Just quickly, this is a really useful tool, everyone, because it's someone looking from the outside in. You know your business, you know it really well. As Rick said, he's written these a million times. It's easy to fall into, the vernacular or the things that are right for you, but maybe not what someone else is looking for or searching for. So really great tools to just double check your work, really. Sorry, Rick.
Yeah. And it's amazingly cool. As you can see, it's just typing away. This is like having a specialist SEO person writing your meta titles and meta description for you. So really, really cool. And it doesn't hurt to even just double check on one page.
I was going to say, always read through it and make sure that you're happy with it, like any AI. You can do it at an individual page level as well. But the great thing with this is it shows you all of your pages in your website without you having to jump into each one in one place. Ricky, you're going to also show the AI content assistant.
Sure. So I'm going to quit this and quit this. Quit this. You want me just to show you the general content assistant here?
Yeah, just very quickly so that everyone knows this is now available. If you just go over that and go to the AI assistant. If you don't have this turned on in your platform at the moment, please let us know. And we can have this turned on. It is a new release. It will suggest and rewrite and correct spelling, and you can change tone of voices and all sorts of different things. It's also available within the blog platform too. So just know that that's available.
Looks like it's just rewritten our tagline, Nick.
Yeah. So yeah.
It's pretty cool. So yeah, great to have those AI tools to make it better. So that's a bit on the AI SEO tool. And again, the whole idea is we've really looked at this as a holistic recruitment SEO solution, in that everything that is on a SEO expert checklist for them to do, we have really tried to tick every single box on a SaaS platform to allow you to tailor it. So as we've gone through, it's pretty much everything that you could ever want, you can now change. Don't know if you want to go through this, Nick, but we've covered most of it.
I think we've covered it all. The big thing that I would say to everyone, get buy-in from the recruiters that you're working with. It's really important that they're socially sharing their jobs. If I'm a recruiter and I've just put this job ad on, I, as Nicole, the recruiter, should go and share this via the button on the job ad itself to my LinkedIn network and say, you know, I've got a great opportunity. Are you relevant? Do you know someone? The other thing a lot of people don't realize is through that LinkedIn share, I could also share that job to a group that I'm a member of. Now, you probably don't want people doing this all the time because they'll get blacklisted. But if I was looking for that civil engineer, for instance, and I was a member of a civil engineering group on LinkedIn, I could share that job ad and in the comments say, I hope this is allowed. I'm in urgent need of a civil engineer on the Gold Coast. Does anybody know someone? Would greatly appreciate your help. And then that will push that straight through into LinkedIn, in that LinkedIn group. Which is really good. Make sure you're getting, and once again, all those clicks, the great thing when you share the job out from the job ad itself, that's going to give you clicks, driving traffic from LinkedIn back to your job ad, which gives you more brownie points for SEO. Job alerts, make sure you've got, you're promoting people to sign up for job alerts, because the fact of the matter is we know a lot of extra placements come out of job alerts, both by people that you've placed in the past and or their friends, where they forward a job alert on. And a lot of recruiters have said to me, oh, it's fantastic because we can't contact someone we've placed for a certain period of time. But if they're still getting our job alerts, we're front of mind to come back to them. So it is important. Make sure you've got similar jobs streaming through. As hopefully everyone knows here, the job detail page, you can customize it and drop different things on it in the form of widgets to build these pages out as much as you like. And I think, Rick, you're just alluding to the top there where it says customer service supervisor and the keyboard. We now have the ability for you to customize the image that comes through to the different job pages based on categories. So if it was customer service supervisor, it's a laptop, iPad, whatever that is. And if it was a civil engineer, it might be an engineering image comes through to that job ad description. So you can really start doing some really cool stuff with your pages.
Yeah. And that can be done either at the category level or subcategory level. So if you just want, for example, if you've got 3 categories being, let's say, legal, administration, and nursing, to have 3 really strange combinations, but you could have it at that level. Or if you want to go one level lower, you can actually allocate the images to, say, a nurse, a doctor, a medic, etc. And same for the other profession. You could have a clerk, a lawyer, a barrister, etc. So really some cool things that we are doing on that, and there's some other things that we're doing at this level as well for SEO on those items as well, to have a different description as well for the job board as well. So some cool things in the pipeline still.
Just quickly before you jump off that one, Rick, just heading back, just so everyone knows, like the apply button, the social sharing button, all of those as widgets that can be dragged onto the page and they can be moved around. You can have more than one apply button. So it was interesting. I was looking at something the other day and I was quite frustrated when I was looking at this job ad, not that I was applying for a job ad, but I saw that there was no apply at the bottom, but I had to scroll back up the top to apply. Why not have an apply button up the top and one at the very bottom of the job description to make sure that you never miss an opportunity for someone to hit that button, and know that you can customize it, not necessarily to say apply now. You might want to change that terminology to say register to learn more, or different things depending on your sector.
Yeah. Just quickly, great to see some eager beavers jumping into chat and probably turning on AI chat. So well done. And again, anyone else, the links are in the chat. They can turn that on for you, the AI assistant.
Yeah. I know we're running close to getting out of time, so I won't go into the Insight SEO tool, but we do have an SEO tool that gives you great insights into competitors and your own site. Blog, Nicole, I'm not sure if you wanted to touch on.
Look, just very quickly on this one, we all know blogs help greatly with SEO. The big massive opportunity here that hopefully you guys either are doing or will think about doing is when you put a blog out, if it's focused at a job seeker, make sure you drag either the job search widget, which is what you can see the pre-recording that I did here. You just grab the widget, drag it onto the bottom of the blog. The other thing you can also do, let's say I'll use civil engineers again. We've just done a blog on, what are the best civil engineering companies to work for in Australia, whatever. I can actually pull through the job ads themselves, as you can see there, and you can customize that to say only show civil engineering jobs on this page on the Gold Coast. So once again, get your blogs to work. Yeah, they're great for SEO, but no one can help clicking to look at a job ad if it's on the bottom of a highly relevant blog when the jobs are highly relevant as well.
Yeah, great. I think that is it for today's session.
Just quickly, Rick, if you could jump back to the SEO tool, and if anyone wants to jump, totally understand. We don't need to look at this. I just want to quickly talk about it. This is one of the tools that we offer, and you will find we're offering more and more tools to our clients because we want you to be more successful because you are using our technology, and we don't want you being ripped off by overpriced tech in this world. So we've got an SEO platform. Some of you, because we're in the advanced course at the minute, might know things like SEMrush and different ones like that. Our SEO tool allows you to research keywords. It allows you to look at your competitors, track yourself against your competitors, look at, broken links, different things that might be going on your website, and give you all the insights. Are your competitors paying for ads? What ads are they paying for? What are the ads they're running? So there's some really great insights. But for me, the biggest one that I get out when I work with the recruiters that are using us, that are trying to optimize their SEO, is what you think people are searching for might not necessarily be the keywords that they're actually using to find you. So a really good example, I had someone that was a rec-to-rec recruitment agency the other day, and just looking at rec-to-rec, people weren't typing in no space to R. They were literally typing in recruitment to recruitment, or rec space to space rec. So you want to have a look at that stuff so that you make sure what you're calling things is actually what people are searching for, because it could mean the difference of 800 potential people seeing your brand or none. And it's important to really look at that, because it's and you can also look in there at what are the questions people are typing into Google around that search keyword. So that gives you great ideas for writing blogs and other content. And keep in mind, this goes back to the job ad piece that Rick was talking about. lots of people are looking for geographical places. They want to work as a civil engineer on the Gold Coast. They don't want to work in Perth or anywhere else. So if that's relevant to you, make sure that you're creating content that's going to get those people finding you, and you can find out how many people are searching for that and geocodes. You'll be quite surprised. And a lot of times those are pages that are extremely easy to rank for, because all your competitors don't understand this space very well, and they're optimizing to engineering jobs rather than breaking it down into lower hierarchy of job types that are going to get you very succinct inquiries converting, because it's so relevant. Yeah, love that tool. I think Aussie, it's 49 or $40.
I think, yeah.
No contract, so you can pin it at any time.
Links in the descriptions as well in the chat, and I'll include that in the follow-up email. With that, if you did get value out of that, I will send this in the email as well. Of course, for a small business, we would love 5-star Google reviews, and I will send you a link if you would like to do that. Again, if you got value, share it with your friends, your colleagues. Tell everyone about Shazami, and hopefully they can get some benefit out of it as well.